So tell us about the simple and sour, Clay.
The simple and sour is basically our sweet and sour Italian, and we've removed the sugar and we've removed the salt for the people that want to be health conscious in this.
Did you remove the sugar and the salt, or did you just not put it in?
I removed it. Well, I didn't remove it. Correct. It's definitely not been put in at all.
Okay, so it's the simple and sour. It's our seasonal sauce.
It'll be available until April. It's delicious. It's a little on the sour side. We did some pulled chicken recently with it, and it was an awesome thing.
Yep.
You can check that on WTAJ. And
or our YouTube channel.
correct.
For lots of recipes.
I forgot that we had put that on there.
Yep.
So
cool.
and
we're gonna what?
we're gonna make some baked cabbage steaks using this great dressing today.
Great. So I've been seeing baked cabbage steaks all the rage all over social media. Everybody's doing it. It's especially nice right now this time of year as people are kind of cutting back, and with our simple and sour Italian, cutting back on your sugar and your salt is easy. So if you're diabetic, you're following keto, you're just wanting to get a little less calories in your regular day-to-day, you don't get much easier than cabbage and our simple and sour. So we're gonna make the cabbage steaks. I've set the oven at 425. We will be cooking these cabbage steaks for about 35-40 minutes until they become fork tender and browned around the edges. And so I'm gonna just cut the cabbage steaks first. Now this is a pretty big cabbage. I trimmed off the core, and I took the outer layers off and did rinse this off pretty well. So what they want to do is you cut your cabbage steaks about 1 inch to 1.5 inches. And normally you would not be using the core of your cabbage. So see, that's a pretty big, thick, if this were a steak, this would be a pretty big, thick steak. But they say that the core is what's going to keep your cabbage pieces together. And so what you do is place these on your so either with aluminum foil or parchment, but you definitely want to line your pan. You just continue to cut the cabbage steaks. Oh, this is really hard. So my temperature just got up on my oven, but so since these are so large, I'm going to only do enough for Clay and I, and to have a little extra for maybe tomorrow's lunch as a heat up. But what you want to do, a lot of folks are using oil and all kinds of spices, and that's basically what our simple and sour is. It is oil and spices and apple cider vinegar. And you just want to definitely coat these with that dressing. You want to get both sides, and so that it all soaks into, and that goodness, all those little nooks and crannies in your cabbage. And then this is going to roast, like I said, for about 35-40 minutes. And you'll know because it's going to be fork tender. It's going to be browning around the edges, and it is going to be buttery and simply delicious. So let me finish these up, and I'll put them in the oven. So I definitely want to get both sides. So I'm going to go ahead and flip them, and then do the opposite side as well. So these are, both sides are coated and going into the 425-degree oven for 35 minutes or so. I'll keep checking it. We did use our simple and sour Italian, no sugar, no salt, seasonal sauce, available January through April. But Clay and I were just talking, and you surely could use our sweet and sour Italian, which is our original, most popular. For this same cabbage, you could use very nice for the sultry smoky. That would add just a hint of spiciness to your cabbage steaks. And then we thought, you know what? Actually, all of these sauces would be terrific on them. There's oil, vinegar, sugar, spices in all of our products. They're going to all get down into those nooks and crannies and be really great for your cabbage steaks. And I can't wait to show you how these turn out. So I just fried up a few onions. That's a nice sweet onion. And I'm going to go ahead and cut up some nice kielbasa, smoked kielbasa. And I'm just going to put that in there and fry it as well. And so that it'll be a delicious accompaniment to the cabbage steaks. And so that's going to just kind of brown and sear and become absolutely delicious. And I did actually use a little of the simple and the sour Italian to coat the pan. So as our kielbasa and onions go ahead and heat up, and because the kielbasa is actually smoked, so if you don't even need to, you'll just need to heat that. But as that heats up, we're going to go ahead and here you go, hon. If you want to flip those over, you might need a spatula instead. Oh, you can see like they're halfway done, and you can see they're actually starting to brown already. And so he's going to need to, let me help you with that, hon. You got it?
Yep.
So they asked you to try to flip those halfway, and I'm so glad we did. I mean, because you can see that's really going to come together in the end. Oh, those are nice big cabbage steaks too, and they smell so delicious. So those will go back in for 15 more minutes, and we'll see. So we're on countdown for our last minute at 35 minutes. Clay's going to go ahead and see what's going on here. You can see they are browning. However, what I've seen on social media is that they're really nice and brown. Clay had a theory.
Yeah, our theory is the recipe that she's basing this on used straight oil and some spices on it. We're using the simple and sour, which is a mixture of oil and the vinegar. So
Apple cider vinegar, yeah.
And so it diluted a little bit more. So I think it's going to take a little bit longer. And the thickness of the steaks would make a difference as well. And when I tested these, they're not quite fork tender yet. So they need a few more minutes. So we're going to try with about 10 more minutes and go from there.
Oh, look at these beauties. Yep, that's just what it's supposed to look like.
Perfect.
And this has been a total of 45 minutes.
At 425 degrees.
Yep. And so we're going to go ahead and plate these and serve them with some kielbasa and onion. I mean, what other better way to enjoy cabbage than kielbasa? So
I'm just going to flip them over.
Oh.
Just to see what the other side looks
like. Oh, yeah. So look, you wouldn't even have needed to flip them. They get nice and roasted on both sides. There we go. Beautiful. All right, cool. So one of us is having our plate of cabbage and kielbasa and onions with some dipping bright and tangy Italian, and the other is actually having dipping bold and sassy Italian. And so both are going to prove to be absolutely delicious.